a state bill from the gentleman. Sorry.
The driver in there?
Blue Benz.
Which one?
The
Okay.
blue one over there. Which one?
Yep. Just head back in. They're moving around a lot. Let me see your hands.
Damn, man.
Stay in the car. Let me see your other hand.
I'm sorry.
Let me see your other hand.
Please, Miss Officer.
Both hands.
Do nothing.
Put your fucking hands up right now. Let me see your other hand.
All right. What I do though? What do we do?
Put your hand up there. Put your fucking hand up there. Jesus Christ. Keep your fucking hands on the wheel.
I got shot.
Keep your fucking hands on the wheel.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, Miss Officer.
Who else is in the car?
I got shot. That's my friend.
Back
I'm
in.
sorry, Miss Officer. I'm so sorry. God dang, man. Man, I got shot the same way, Miss Officer, before.
Okay, well, when I say let me see your hands, you put your fucking hands up.
Man, I'm so sorry, Miss Officer.
You got them?
Man, dang, man.
Put your hands on top of your head.
Man, Miss Officer. Last time I got shot like that, Miss Officer.
Hands on top of your head.
Man.
Hands on top of your head. Step out of the vehicle and step away from me, all right?
Sir, man.
Step out and face away. Step out and face away.
Okay, Miss Officer, please don't shoot me. Please, man.
I'm not going to shoot you. Step out and face
No,
away.
I'm looking you eye to eye, man. Please don't shoot me, man.
I'm not shooting you, man.
Please, man. I just lost my mom, man.
No. Step out and face away.
So sorry.
Step out and face away.
Please don't shoot me, Mr. Officer. Please. Don't shoot me, man.
Step out and face away.
Can you not shoot me, man?
I'm not shooting you. Step out and face away.
Okay. Please. Please, man. Please. I didn't know, man.
Get out of the car.
I didn't know, Mr. Officer. I didn't know.
Stop moving.
I'm not gonna do nothing.
Put your hands behind your back then.
I'm not gonna do nothing.
Face in the floor. Hey, you come back. Stay in the car.
I'm sorry, Mr. Officer. I get on my knees for that. Oh, man.
Stop resisting, man. Yes, you are. Stand up.
Please, man.
Stand up
I
for
want
me.
to go back.
Stand up.
I want to go back, man. I ain't gonna do nothing that's wrong, man.
Come on, walk with me.
This is like
Walk with me. Walk with me.
my feet, man. God damn, man.
Stand up.
Why you doing me like that?
Stand up.
God damn,
Come on.
man. I just want to stop doing it.
We're trying to get out of the street here so you don't get hit by a car.
That's it, man. I was looking, man. But I ain't doing anything wrong. That's all I was saying.
Take a seat. Sit down for me.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Mr.
Yep,
Officer.
sit down.
Thank you, man. God.
Sit all the way down. Flatten your feet out.
Yes, sir, I will. Please, man. Please, man.
You got an ID on you?
I got one at home.
All right, what's your name?
George.
George?
George Perry Floyd. I don't know what's going on. Man, that's it.
Spell it for me.
G-E-O.
Yep.
R-G-E.
Last name?
Floyd. Yes, man. F-L-O-Y-D.
F-L-O-Y-D?
Yes.
Date of birth?
And last time I got 10, October 14th.
October 14th?
73. Man, I got shot last time. Same way, man.
If you mind doing me a favor, just run this
Nah,
guy
man.
for me. George Floyd. Thank you.
Man, he was looking at Miss Officer. I don't want no problem. I ain't even do nothing.
Man, you know why we're here?
Why?
We're here because it sounds like you gave a fake bill to the individuals in there.
Yeah.
You understand that?
Yes.
And do you know why we pulled you out of the car? Because you was not listening to anything we told you.
Right, but I didn't know what was going on.
You listened to us and we will tell you what's going on, all right? When you're moving around like that, that makes us think way more is going on than we need to know.
Right. And that's all I had was Officer.
Gotcha, all right. We're gonna put you in the back of a squad, all right?
So, can I talk to you?
Yeah, we're gonna sort all this out, all right?
Please, man.
That's your car key?
It's my sister.
Key fob right there?
Yes, sir. Man, I got one problem.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold on to that for you, all right? Stand up.
Please, man. All right. Can I give you? Because I was so messing with me. I was like right now. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, and look at you still able to reach your side. You're making me nervous.
That's why I was feeling. I was looking at my wrist. Look at it.
Yeah, I got you. We'll fix all that. We'll fix all that, but you gotta walk with me.
Ouchie, man.
Are you on something right now?
I'm not, no, nothing.
Because you acting a little erratic.
Man,
Let's go.
Scared, man.
Let's go.
God,
You got
man.
foam around your mouth, too?
Yes. Yes, I was just whooping earlier.
Okay.
Man, what up? All right, let me calm down now. This is a little better now. All right, okay. Miss Officer, do me one favor, man.
And we're gonna talk about that once we get to the car. Stop moving around.
Man. Oh, man. God, don't leave me, man. Please, man, don't leave me, man. Oh, please don't leave me, man.
Yeah, just unlock the door for me.
I was anything.
Hey. Stand up. Stop falling down.
I'm claustrophobic, man.
Stand up.
I'm claustrophobic.
Stay on your feet and face the car door.
Please, man. Please.
No.
Please.
Not yet. Keep the door open. Keep the door
I just
open.
want to talk to you, man. Please, let me talk to you. Please.
Man, you ain't listening to nothing we're saying, so we're not gonna listen to nothing you're saying.
I'm claustrophobic.
Face the door.
Please, man. I'm claustrophobic.
I hear you, but you are gonna face this door right now.
Listen up. Stop.
I don't do anything. I don't believe y'all telling me, man. I'm not a resistor, man. I'm not. You can ask him. They know me, you know.
Check that side.
God, man, I'm gonna do anything like this, y'all. Why is it going on like this? Look at my wrist, Mr. Officer. I'm not that kind of guy.
Sit still.
Mr. Officer, I'm not that kind of guy. Please. I'm not that kind of guy, Mr. Officer. Please. God.
All right.
Man, don't leave me by myself, man, please. I'm just claustrophobic. That's it.
Got anything sharp on you?
I won't do nothing to hurt y'all.
Do you have anything sharp on you?
Sir.
Not even like a
Why-
comb or nothing?
Nothing. I don't have nothing. Why y'all doing me like that? Mr. Officer, please, crack it window for me and stuff, man.
Stand up straight.
I'm claustrophobic for real, Mr. Officer.
You got him?
Could you please crack it for me, please?
Yes, I'll
Run my
crack
name.
it.
Stay
I
with me,
will.
man.
I will.
Please stay with me, man. Thank you. God, man. I didn't know all this was gonna happen, man. Please, man. I just want my hands free. I don't gonna do nothing, y'all, man. Nothing.
Hey, you get that inside inner
And I
pocket real
understand-
quick on your side?
Hey,
On
Ms.
the
Officer,
flex. I'm listening.
And I understand that people do stuff, and y'all don't know me.
Take a seat.
Okay.
Why are you having trouble walking?
Because my hands
roll
are
the
hurt.
windows down,
We will,
okay?
please, man. Please don't do this.
Take a seat.
I'm going in, Mr. Officer. I'm going
No,
in.
you're not.
I gotta go in.
Take a seat.
Grab a seat, man.
Man, y'all don't believe me, Mr. Officer.
Take a seat.
I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not that kind of guy, man.
Take a seat.
No, I'm gonna die here.
Take a
I'm
seat.
gonna die, man.
You need to take a seat right now.
And I just had COVID, man. I don't want to go back to that.
Take a
I'll
seat.
roll the windows
No.
down. Hey, listen.
Dang, man.
Listen.
I'm not that kind of guy.
I'll roll the windows down
Please,
and you
man.
put the legs in, all right? I'll
Y'all
put the air on.
God, look at that. Look
Look,
at that.
you're not even listening.
Look at it. Look at it.
We can fix it, but not while you're standing out
Okay,
here.
man. God, y'all do me bad, man. Man, I don't want to try to win. I don't want to try to win.
Quit resisting, bro.
I don't want to win. I'm claustrophobic.
You ain't gonna win, bro.
I'm claustrophobic and I got anxiety. I don't want to do nothing to them.
You made a mistake. Somebody
When I start breathing, it's gonna go off on me, man.
Get in there.
Don't get in the car. He know it. He know it, superstar. Y'all hear me? Don't do me like that, man.
In the car.
Okay, can I talk to you, please?
You get in this car, we can talk.
I am claustrophobic.
I'm hearing you, but you're not working with me.
God, I'm claustrophobic, man.
Get in the car,
man. Whatever you
Get in the car.
Can you get me in the front? Please.
No, you're not getting in the front.
I'm claustrophobic, so I was
Get in the car.
Okay, man, okay. I'm not a bad guy, man.
Get in the car.
I'm not a bad guy. Man. Open my doors. Please, officer. Please.
Sit.
Please.
Take a seat.
Please, man. Please. No.
Take a seat.
I can't choke. I can't breathe, officer. Please! Please!
Fine.
My wrist, man. Please. I can't take that, man. I can't. I'm gonna lay on the ground.
Get in the squad.
I'm gonna lay on the ground. I'm going down.
Get in the squad.
I'm going down. I'm not gonna breathe. Bro, you won't die of a heart attack, man. I know I can't breathe. Get in the car. I just had COVID, man. I can't breathe.
Take a seat.
Please, man. Please listen to me.
Is he going to jail?
Listen to me.
He's under arrest right now for forgery.
I tell you.
What's going on?
What?
Let's take him out and just take him
For what? Please, man. I can't fucking breathe.
Hey, come on out.
Look at you. Thank you.
lay him.
Stay on the ground. On the ground.
My wrist. Right.
You got your restraint? Hobble?
I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Jesus Christ. I can't breathe.
Thank you.
Not moving.
Mama.
Yeah.
Mama.
Yeah.
Mama.
One of the front pouches
Mama.
on my right side bag.
Mama.
Get EMS code too.
You're the best guy.
All right. Oh my God.
That's how you go to jail.
I can't believe this. I can't believe this, man. Mama, I love you. Reese, I love you.
You got hobble?
In 2020, George Floyd says, I got shot last time.
Man, I got shot last time. Same way, man.
And you would have been the last officer to arrest George Floyd. Did you shoot him?
No, I didn't shoot him. No. The body camera is out there. It shows exactly what I did, exactly what the other officers did. No, we didn't shoot him.
How was George Floyd acting during that arrest in 2019?
Everything was almost identical. I mean, the initial stop, when I first started to approach him, you know, he was uncooperative. He wasn't listening to my commands. He was very agitated. Just keep your hands out where I can see him. Hey! Let me. Keep your hands where I can see him.
Let me see your hands.
Damn, man.
Stay in the car. Let me see your other hand.
I'm sorry.
Let me see your other hand.
Please,
both hands.
Do nothing.
Put your fucking hands up right now.
During the time, I couldn't see his hands. He was moving about. We found out later he's probably eating dope.
Hey, okay, man.
Open your mouth. Spit out what you got. Spit out what you got.
My mama, man. My mama, man, please, man.
Come on, lean back.
I'm not gonna do anything more. I just lost my mom, man.
Step out and face away.
Go ahead and undo your seatbelt.
Don't shoot me, man. Please, I don't want to get shot.
I don't plan on shooting you. I'm just saying, just take your time.
Step out and face away.
Okay, Mr. Officer, please don't shoot me. Please, man.
I'm not gonna shoot you. Step out and face away.
I'm looking you eye to eye, man. Please don't shoot me, man. Please.
For 5 whole excruciating minutes.
For 8 minutes and 46 seconds.
8:46, 8:46, 8 minutes and 46 seconds.
9 minutes and 29 seconds.
9 minutes and 29 seconds, right?
Actually, 8 minutes and 46 seconds.
Our heart and our solidarity are with folks who understand what happened Monday night to George Floyd.
The vast majority of people that have come together have been doing so peacefully.
Peaceful protest overnight in the Twin Cities, several dozen arrests at the state capitol. But
that entire time, they've been very peaceful. The crowd continues to be peaceful.
It started out as a lot of people gathering, which is, your First Amendment right, but it quickly changed.
My husband actually left for work before me. He works for Minneapolis Police Department, and he texted me on the way into work and said, "You're gonna have a bad day," and he was correct. The crowds got larger and larger and larger, so we knew that we were gonna have our hands full.
Each day, it just compounded. By the end of the day, it was probably 1,000 people. And then the next day, it was 4,000 people. And then the day after that, it was like 8,000 to 10,000 people. I think it's really important for people to understand that the police that were working the street at that time were dealing with situations that, in my mind, only you could think of as wartime.
This is like a modern-day war zone. I mean, this is unbelievable what is happening on the streets of Minneapolis.
So we're seeing someone being wheeled away, someone who looks pretty badly injured.
They threw a whole bunch of bottles and rocks, and I got hit in my mouth. I ended up breaking 3 more teeth.
Break that shit! Fuck that shit!
We were dodging water bottles, bricks, Roman candles, anything they could get their hands on.
It was crazy. It was like I was living in a third world country. I'm like, what is going on? Where do I live right now? Hey! And this is a thing that bothered me about government officials, is they let people sit back and throw rocks and bricks and fire bombs, and we're supposed to just put on a helmet and take that.
We are still taking rocks, frozen water bottles. They're shooting mortars at us. Can we escalate our use of force to deploy scat rounds?
1204, negative on the scat round. 1204, again, negative on the scat round. There's another plan in place, standby.
When did you realize this wasn't a typical riot response?
Pretty early on, there was no response at all. They didn't say why, but I assumed they didn't want to make us look militant with the rioters. I actually had gear, but they were just saying, just wear your helmets and stand there, basically.
Obviously, they didn't take my request for more resources seriously, so we were just watching it unfold without less than lethal, without SWAT teams, without riot gear. Nobody had protective gear on. We were just in our uniforms.
At this point, they're not giving you permission to wear your riot gear?
No, there was no riot gear given to anybody at that point. And we're in the middle of a war zone. It was just officer after officer. Injured, back in. Send them home. Injured, I mean, it was 30 officers that evening probably that got injured while they were out there trying to deal with the riots.
We were in a squad car, me and my partner, and we were at Chicago and Lake. And we had a observe and report post, basically. So we watched them with our own two eyes break into the T-Mobile store, Foot Locker, Chicago Lake Liquors. And we were given a play-by-play over the radio. And the only sponsor we would get back is just copy, observe, and report. We watched them loot, we watched them light the Molotov cocktail, and we watched them throw it into the building.
They're starting to throw Molotov cocktails.
We were ordered not to do anything.
Fire department wasn't responding then. We were trying to put out fires along and cars were trying to run us off the road when we were trying to do that. All kinds of things were happening to our team. And it wasn't just me, but all the strike teams and all the officers during that time. The stuff that was going on, shots fired. It was completely utter chaos.
This was just kind of wandering around aimlessly, waiting to be told what not to do next.
Did you ever feel like there was a plan?
I am reaching to the command post over and over again about what's our plan, what's our plan, what's our plan, without any response whatsoever.
They're not saying anything at all?
No, nothing.
Command post, you copy?
Command, can you advise?
The elections were coming up. Everything's politically driven. They were going to use this incident for a political narrative, and they did.
It started with the tragic and senseless murder of George Floyd, and it extended through the week of righteous anger being expressed by community leaders and all people of conscience.
If you're feeling that sadness and that anger, it's not only understandable, it's right.
What am I saying in this? Fuck! You the fuck!
I end up on the phone with the assistant chief. He's like, so our plan is we're gonna take all the squad cars and everything around and make the precinct look abandoned. And if no one's there, it shouldn't be a target. And I'm literally just staring at the phone like, how is this the plan? Like, there's thousands of protesters, there's thousands of rioters. They have dead pigs in front of us. That signifies they will kill a cop.
We were tasked to go down to the precinct to remove all of the shotguns and patrol rifles and ammunition from the precinct. When I got down there, You would swear it was kids moving out of a college dormitory because there was moving trucks and everything out back, literally emptying out the precinct.
People were showing up at the precinct, gathering their things. So they'd come through the fence, get let in, go to the locker, grab their stuff, and walk out. I was like, where are you going? Oh, I'm just coming to get my stuff in case they give away the precinct. Like, it's got our museum stuff. Pretty soon, 2 vans showed up and cleaned out all the museum items.
You're talking 20, 30 years of pictures, artifacts that are on the wall supposed to be for eternity.
So you're a lieutenant in this building, and you don't even know that the plan is to surrender it later in the evening?
No, not even a clue. As they were like cleaning things out, they took all the cameras out because they didn't want the rioters to break them. We're now in a precinct with boarded up windows. I could tell what was going on outside. I couldn't see it, but you could hear it, you could tell. I knew there were fires. The radio traffic was completely insane. It was fire after fire after fire. The whole city was burning, just like night 1 and night 2.
Looks like the U.S. Bank building at 28th and Lake is on fire. Flames above the buildings in front of it.
Copy. U.S. Bank at 28th and Lake appears to be on fire.
Large fire east of the 3rd Precinct.
Copy. Large fire east of the 3rd Precinct, 2118.
I was shocked. I said, no way, no fucking way. And the city's not that stupid. They're not going to do that. You can't just give up a precinct. I did not think anybody in their right mind would think it would be a good tactical move to give up a precinct.
I made the decision to evacuate the 3rd Precinct.
When do you get word that it's finally time to leave the building?
So I get a command over the radio that we need to evacuate the 3rd Precinct.
Evacuate now, evacuate now.
I said, like, right now?
Do we have to evacuate right now?
And they said, yes, immediately.
You need to evacuate now. Evacuate, evacuate, evacuate.
I have 50-some people. I quickly get on the air and tell everyone to gather in the roll call room. I get a phone call from the head of 911 as I'm trying to do roll call, and she says, our whole 911 backup system is there. You need to go get the radios. And I'm like, okay. So either we're in so much danger that we're trying to evacuate right this second, or we're not. We're going now as fast as we possibly can. A few SWAT teams come in. I realize they are our escort out, and one of the SWAT team leaders looks at me and he says, why are we evacuating? And he's coming from the outside in, and I can't see on the outside of the building, so I'm like, why? And I don't know. He doesn't know, I don't know. We just have to evacuate.
Evacuate now, evacuate now. Time is 21:55.
They're about to breach the back gate.
Everything was happening so fast and there was such chaos. You know, the heart's racing right now talking about this.
And we run. We run with our belts on and 50-some people and 3 SWAT teams, and we get to the fence. We can't get out.
We gotta go. We're sitting ducks here.
There was only one way in and one way out, and the way out was locked.
1283, they've breached the northwest corner of the front.
Northwest corner of the front has been breached.
They're coming in the back. We need to move, we need to move.
Need to move now.
One of the squads rams through the fence to get it open.
I remember looking through the rearview mirror as we left. It looked like a zombie movie. They all just rushed to the fence and started climbing the fence, and they caused the fences to collapse, and then they just all rushed the precinct. And as we were driving down the line, every window got broken out of the squad car. Driving the gauntlet down Snelling.
Can you even believe this is happening in that moment?
Never seen anything like it. And I had been involved in a lot of riots over a 30-year career. There were still people chasing us down the street. But as I got maybe a quarter block away, I realized that not everyone was in vehicles. They were running basically for their lives at that point because they just left them basically with no plan of attack or no plan of exit from the precinct. Just basically left us all on our own.
They were scared. I could see it. I knew them.
I can't even tell you how it felt in the pit of my stomach, watching my friends run for their lives. It was something I hope to never experience again.
We ran probably 4 or 5 blocks, and eventually 2 buses show up. We get on, and it was just pure silence. I've never cried at work, and I couldn't control myself. I apologized to them. All I could do is say, I'm sorry, and they were like, this is not you. And I felt like I didn't save the precinct. I let them all down. I let all them down. And I just looked out the window and the whole city was on fire. Our precinct was on fire. And it was just like I'm watching a bad dream.
Copy, the precinct is on fire.
Get a citywide tone right now in our loss of the 3rd Precinct.
Airing information citywide. The 3rd Precinct has been compromised.
Cops do not run away. You run too.
The symbolism of a building cannot outweigh the importance of life, of our officers, or the public. We could not risk serious injury to anyone.
Mayor Fry decided that it was just a building. And I know there's probably several hundred cops and maybe some citizens that would disagree with that.
This has never happened in our country's history. Have you lost a police station or police precinct to a riot? Furthermore, forfeiting it. It was unbelievable then, and it still is now, that they chose to surrender that precinct.
You can't call it leadership. Lack of leadership.
You're not going to gain any confidence from anyone in the city by giving up your own property.
It sent that message, in your opinion?
Absolutely.
That's some police officer's home, and it had been their homes their entire career. But to him, it's just a building.
It was devastating. Everything was broken. Anything that we left in there was demolished. My office was torched. My office was actually the one part of the building that was still burning.
They weren't doing anything to control the riot. They didn't let us do our jobs.
We will continue to patrol the 3rd Precinct entirely. We will continue to do our jobs in that area.
out you, man.
Are you on something right now?
I'm not on nothing. Because you acting
Yeah.
erratic.
If George Floyd would have told the truth about fentanyl and methamphetamine, could that have helped to save his life?
Yes. Yes, it could have. That's proven by what happened the year before when he was arrested by Minneapolis police and he was putting tablets in his mouth.
Open your mouth. Spit out what you got. Spit out what you got.
He admitted at some point that he had swallowed a bunch of pills, and the paramedics came and talked to him and took his blood pressure, and his blood pressure was extremely high, 216 over 160, and so he ended up going to the hospital.
Put your hands up right now.
If he had admitted that he had again ingested pills in the car when they were attempting to arrest him, things could have turned out much differently.
That's a beat that's gonna go up on me, man.
Pull your legs in.
So we know now that the police body camera videos were withheld from the public and even the jurors. When you were able to see those videos, what was going through your mind?
I wish that those videos had been out sooner, that they hadn't been withheld for 2.5 months, because the videos portrayed quite a different story from what we had originally heard.
I can't joke. I can't breathe.
You mentioned you went through these police body camera videos minute by minute.
Right.
What troubled you most?
At the very end of Thomas Lane's body cam video.
One of us ride with?
Yeah. Stick it out.
Ride with?
Yeah, stick it out.
I don't have my phone, so.
The paramedic handing the bag to Thomas Lane to ventilate the patient, you can see that the oxygen tubing is coiled up. It's not even attached to the oxygen source. That's a big mistake.
George Floyd was a healthy young man.
The autopsy shows that Mr. Floyd had no underlying medical problem that caused or contributed to his death.
Today, I filed an amended complaint that charges former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin with murder in the second degree for the death of George Floyd. I believe the evidence available to us now supports the stronger charge of second-degree murder. We've consulted with each other, and we agree. Finally, I'd like to announce that today, Hennepin County Attorney Michael Freeman and I filed a complaint that charges police officer King, Lane, and Tao with aiding and abetting murder in the second degree, a felony offense. I strongly believe that these developments are in the interest of justice for Mr. Floyd, his family, our community, and our state.
On behalf of the pastors and preachers from Minneapolis and St. Paul, the Bloods on the south side, Gangster Disciples and Vice Lords on the north side, Psalm 27.
When and how did you become concerned about the autopsy of George Floyd?
I think we all saw video and television coverage of this, and I saw one of the body camera footages from the police officers that showed that he was complaining of shortness of breath before entering into the car.
Right now. And I just had COVID, man. I don't want to go back to that. When I start breathing, it's going to go off on me, man.
Pull your legs in.
I started realizing that, hey, something was wrong with this. A few days later, I found out that the autopsy report was available online, and so I downloaded the autopsy report and read through it. When I did that, my jaw hit the floor.
No underlying medical problem. George Floyd was a healthy young man.
An article published in a peer-reviewed journal identified 17 errors in George Floyd's autopsy. Do these errors raise questions about how George Floyd died?
Yes. In patients that have acromegaly, they tend to die from cardiovascular complications such as heart attack or arrhythmias.
Do you feel in a way they were trying to hide this information?
I'm not sure if the medical examiners were trying to hide it, but it seems like the prosecutor team was trying to hide it. There's no mention of that in the original autopsy report, nor any of the other reviews. I wouldn't even call them autopsy reports, but other reviews by other medical examiners.
What do you think about that?
Very strange. It raises a lot of questions. The original autopsy was done 12 hours after he was declared dead. The official report that came out a little bit later, I'm told, was changed after the family had a review by 2 other forensic examiners. Those 2 examiners never did a physical autopsy, and in fact did not view any of the slides or pictures. They complained that they did not have those.
We acknowledge that additional medical information, including toxicology and further investigation, are necessary for a final report.
What do you think of the federal government's involvement in this case?
One of the first questions I asked was the FBI involved? And when I found out the FBI involvement was within 12 to 24 hours, that really raised a red flag for me. The FBI conducted a meeting with Dr. Baker, which
really raised another red flag. I think there's a lot of questions that remained unanswered with this. And when I study what happened and how people and our leaders reacted to this, I just shake my head and almost cry in compassion of what has happened to Minneapolis. And instead of bringing people together, we've had the opportunity to do that, but I think opportunity was taken to drive us apart.
Chauvin is in the courtroom, but America's on trial.
Thank you, George Floyd, for sacrificing your life for justice.
But even Dr. King's assassination did not have the worldwide impact that George Floyd's death did.
Just take him out and just.
For what?
MRE.
Please, man.
Stop resisting, man.
Jesus
Christ.
Thank you.
Yeah, EMS is on their way.
Tonight, barricades surround the Minneapolis courthouse, where jury selection is set to begin Monday for the murder trial of Derek Chauvin.
The courtroom in a tower in downtown Minneapolis was ringed Monday with concrete barriers, barbed wire, and soldiers from the state's National Guard. Nearby businesses were closed and windows boarded up due to fears of arson and other property damage that occurred after Floyd's death.
But I'm going to tell you, there's a new day in America and a new day in Minneapolis. And that day belongs to all of us when we demand for justice.
Go say his name! Say his name! Say his name!
So tell us about that. So at some point when you're there at the scene still, did a fire truck come?
Yes.
And they're coming to respond to the call, correct?
They're coming to respond to the call, and they went into Cup Foods to actually look for a victim, which is unique for that, there to be that much miscommunication.
Mr. Nelson.
You testified that you've been a firefighter now for 2 years approximately?
Correct.
And I see you're wearing your uniform today?
Correct.
And that would be like your dress uniform or your Class A uniform?
Correct.
And that's common to wear when you testify in court?
Correct.
Fair to say that you were not wearing your Class A or any uniform on May 25th, 2020?
Correct, I was off duty.
Right, okay.
Are you really a firefighter?
Yes, I am from Minneapolis.
Okay, then get on the sidewalk.
Check his right
Charles,
fucking
check his
out.
pulse. Get back on the sidewalk.
The man ain't moved yet, bro.
Okay, where?
Minneapolis!
Okay.
Is it reasonable to assume that if a patient is having a medical emergency and the police are present, that they have called for EMS?
Your question is unclear because you don't know my job, so
Okay.
can't answer.
Sure. So let's take this scene, right? May 25th, 2020. You walk upon a scene, you see someone having a medical emergency, right? You did not call 911 to get the medics there, right?
Right.
Would it have been reasonable to assume that medics had already been called based on what you saw when you first arrived?
Yes.
I can't do nothing.
Yeah, EMS is on their way.
And in fact, paramedics did respond, right? You saw the ambulance come up,
Yes, that's not their normal response time.
okay? And so you noticed there was some abnormal response time for medics.
Right, and I also noticed that that is precisely the kind of call that fire would respond to, and Station 17 is just a couple blocks away.
Okay. So do officers on scene decide, do we call for medic or fire?
I don't believe so. I believe that's dispatch. They call for medical.
So if
Attention.
police call dispatch and they say EMS, we need EMS code 3, it's dispatch who decides, do we send medics or fire?
Well, it would be medic. It would be fire with medics, not just fire ever. I don't know the answer to that.
Fair enough.
There were a few mistakes that turned out to be big mistakes in the way EMS was dispatched to the scene. So the fire department ended up at Cup Foods walking around looking for a patient when the paramedic had already updated the location. They had moved to 36th and Park, and so the fire department didn't know that. That's disturbing.
Right with? Yeah. I don't have my phone, so I'll be Baker. You just CPR. Okay.
Then as we're seeing, I'm like, well, now it says code 3. Like, I just don't understand. And then we figured out where it was. So, and then one of your officers was like, hey, ding dongs, you're the wrong spot.
You would agree, Chief, that from the perspective of Miss Frazier's camera, it appears that Officer Chauvin's knee is on the neck of Mr. Floyd.
Yes.
Would you agree that from the perspective of Officer King's body camera, it appears that Officer Chauvin's knee was more on Mr. Floyd's shoulder blade?
Yes.
I have no further questions.
I'd like to show you what's been received as Exhibit 17. Is this a trained technique that's by the Minneapolis Police Department when you were overseeing the training unit?
It is not.
And how does this differ?
I don't know what kind of improvised position that is. So that's not what we train.
All right. As you reflect on Exhibit 17, I must ask you, is this a trained Minneapolis Police Department defensive tactics technique?
It is not.
When I heard that part of the testimony, I really wanted to get up off my chair and yell, "Bullshit."
Several of those witnesses testified that MRT, or the maximal restraint technique, was not a part of Minneapolis police policy.
Oh, it wasn't part of the training. The pages that didn't want to be presented in court because they weren't in the manual. I've seen the manual. I've read through the manuals. I've seen them. They're not in the manuals? Well, they sure as hell are in Derek's training manuals. So how can they say that they don't exist?
That's Derek's manual.
These are Derek's training manuals.
And MRT is in there?
Yes, it's in there. So how can you say that's not part of the training? So the chief of police at that time told a frickin' lie.
This call is from a federal prison.
During the trial, several witnesses, including Chief Arredondo and Inspector Blackwell, testified that they didn't recognize the technique you and the other officers were using, as if it was not a part of Minneapolis police training. But was MRT, the maximal restraint technique, part of training and policy?
Absolutely. In fact, I'm looking at it right now. 5-316, maximal restraint technique, right in their written policy manual. The EMS and Minneapolis fire response was not normal. Normally, both those resources are sent. They arrive in short time, especially on a code 3 situation. In this case, Minneapolis Fire took 20 minutes plus to arrive, and their station's 8 blocks away. At the end of the day, the whole trial, including sentencing, was a sham.
So from that point, we saw you standing there on the sidewalk, just sort of standing still.
How's your name tag, bitch?
From there, did you stay in the area for a little while?
Yes.
And at some point you made a 911 call.
Yes.
Why at that point did you call 911?
I think it all settled in that I wish I would have done that immediately, because it was ridiculous that fire station 17 was as close as it was, and that they hadn't been there. I should have called 911 immediately, but I didn't. And when things calmed down, I realized that I wanted them to know what was going on.
Your attorney wanted to show a photo of MRT to the jury, but Judge Cahill denied it. Was this a key piece of evidence?
I think it certainly is important. Just the fact that it's a PowerPoint training presentation that the City of Minneapolis Police Department delivered, using that photograph that at least illustrates some of the training techniques that are performed.
Were you trained in MRT, the maximal restraint technique?
Yes.
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 Yes, I was.
Yes, we all were. Yes, all the police officers were trained in the MRT.
Your police chief said on the stand that he didn't recognize that technique.
I heard him say that. It's tough to hear people lie, just straight lie. And again, goes right back to, for me, the good and the bad, like the right and the wrong. And for you to be under oath and just straight lie. The amount of training that we go through, I mean, it's consistent every single year. It's written down. It's on body cam. I mean, was that unfortunate? Absolutely. I know Derek Chauvin. It's absolutely horrific what happened, the whole scenario. But did he do anything intentionally to make that happen? No, it was all what we were trained on.
You helped to train Officer Alex King. What did you think of him?
I probably trained a few thousand people. He was probably one of the top two. Top 2 or 3 recruits I've ever had. Give me a minute.
From what I've seen of the videotape, what was done at the scene with George Floyd and the photograph in the police training manual, they look pretty identical.
So question 7 proposed by the defense was, after conducting your business in Cup Foods, did you return to the vehicle with Mr. Floyd? Mr. Hall cannot answer that question. Mr. Hall cannot put himself in that car with Mr. Floyd. Again, this was a car that was searched twice and drugs were recovered twice. If Mr. Hall puts himself in that car, he exposes himself to constructive possession charges of the drugs that were found in that car.
Knowing all that, you've had a chance to look at the questions that were proposed by both sides?
I have.
Would you be willing to answer those if I were to put you on the stand and swear you in as a witness?
No, I am not.
Okay, and why would you not answer those?
I'm fearful of criminal charges going forward. I have open charges that's not settled yet.
You testified that you were the officer who approached the passenger side of the vehicle. You approached George Floyd on May 6th of 2019, is that right?
That's correct, yes.
And Mr. Floyd didn't drop dead while you were interacting with him, correct?
No.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may step down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The city of Minneapolis has agreed to pay George Floyd's family $27 million to settle a civil lawsuit with his family as the jury selection continues for the trial of the officer charged with his murder.
You know, like you mentioned, there is no amount of money that can replace a brother, a son, a nephew, a father, a loved one. But what we can do is continue to work towards justice and equity and equality in the city of Minneapolis.
The city of Minneapolis would pay them the largest civil settlement of its kind, $27 million.
We're looking for a guilty verdict. We're looking for a guilty verdict.
What should protesters do?
Well, we got to stay on the street, and we've got to get more active. We've got to get more confrontational. We've got to make sure that they know that we mean business.
I'm aware of the media reports. I'm aware that Congresswoman Waters was talking specifically about this trial and about the unacceptability of anything less than a murder conviction, and talk about being confrontational. But you can submit the press articles about that. A congresswoman's opinion really doesn't matter a whole lot.
This jury has, despite all best efforts, has been bombarded with information relevant to this case. It is impossible to stay away from it unless you literally shut off your phone, or you shut off your TV, you shut off your computer. And no such instructions have been given during the course of this trial.
Well, to be fair, the last few times I've advised them, I told them don't watch the news. Pure and simple.
Derek was tried in a courthouse that was surrounded by barbed wire, concrete block, 2 armored personnel carriers, and a squad of National Guard troops, all of whom were there for one purpose: in the event the jury acquitted him. Every person in this country is entitled to a fair trial in a fair venue under the Constitution.
What kind of message do you think that sent to the jury, seeing those scenes outside the courthouse every day?
I don't have to speculate on the message the jurors had in their minds. Every juror had a stake in the outcome of that case, because every juror knew that if there was a not guilty finding, there was a less than trivial and actually substantial risk that there would be riots in their community again.
Say his name! Say his name! Say his name!
What do you think your son's case says about the justice system in America?
Is there justice system in America? Not according to what they did to Derek and the other 3 officers. There isn't any. I don't believe in the justice system anymore.
As sentenced for count 1, the court commits you to the custody of the Commissioner of Corrections for a period of 270 months. That's 270. That is a 10-year addition to the presumptive sentence of 150 months. This is based on your abuse of a position of trust and authority, and also the particular cruelty shown to George Floyd.
This call is from a federal prison.
Do you blame Chauvin for any of this?
I don't. The way I see it is that he made the decisions he thought was right. As he did before, he's always been one that was by the book and legally abiding. I think he did exactly what he was trained to do. Unfortunate that the publicity got as riled up as it did by all the officials and politicians that were involved with the case, and it took away any chance he had to even say his piece.
What does this case say about the justice system in America?
I think, unfortunately, we've come to the point now where the justice system has been controlled by mob mentality. Social media, news outlets, peer pressure now control the outcomes of trials, investigations. The justice system no longer is really something you can trust, because if you're in any way on the negative side of the media, you're pretty much just going to have a trial by street, and no one ever wins in street trials with publicity that is already against you. There's just no real way to have a fair trial. We have a whole constitutional amendment about that is null and void.
Why then did you want to speak out?
The whole city is different. The police force lost so many people because of it. Just the amount of crisis that people went through. The media did a really good, strange job of reporting the way they wanted the narrative to go.
After what the world witnessed in the murder of George Floyd,
these 4 police officers are committing a series of actions that violate policies.
This news is disgusting, and they're immoral. At the stuff they reported, the lies they reported.
I saw the video. There was a lot of other angles that were excluded. A lot of training that was excluded.
What was it like going to 911 calls after the riots?
I was the first officer at multiple shootings. I was involved with gun calls, and I'm just like, one of these situations is not going to turn out good. I mean, no matter what I do, I'm going to be either the next Chauvin or I'm going to be shot or killed. And I go, I've already been injured twice in this job, bad. And now, now at the end of my career, I'm going to get hurt again or end up in prison.
When did you decide to leave the Minneapolis Police Department?
I've been in several riots in this city, or protests, or whatever you want to call them. And of all the different riots I've been in, that's probably the first time I've ever felt helpless. I found myself, for the first time ever, I kind of had a panic attack. It was a sense of helplessness. And that's a shitty feeling. I woke my wife up at like 3 in the morning, and I just told her, I think I can be done.
Going to work, though, was physically making me ill. It wasn't the flu. It wasn't a cold. It wasn't anything that I could put my finger on. It wasn't something that went away. It was the drive into the city, the knot in my stomach, the I'm gonna vomit, I'm gonna be sick. I knew something was was wrong.
I left the job about a month after the protests. I just couldn't do it anymore. We were one of the highest trained departments in the country. These were some of the best cops you would ever see in your lives, and a lot of those people are gone.
The last call I was ever on should have been a routine call. It was a simple hit and run. An officer just dispatched to a hit and run call. The victim has pictures of the car that took off, a description of the guy, and the guy drives by again. So the officer follows him, stops him. I think we had 4 officers there because people started yelling. I mean, this was just after the riots. Anytime we're out dealing with anybody, especially if a person of color, we were getting all kinds of screaming and yelling and everything else. It didn't take too long before we realized this guy was completely high on drugs. He was huge too. He was probably 6'5". I mean, he was tall, way bigger than me, probably twice my size. And he's like, I'm not going to jail. And I'm like, okay, well, we got our body cameras on. We got 4 guys. And I'm thinking, well, this guy's drugged out. And he's like, well, I'm not going to jail, I'm going home. Pretty soon the fight's on. And we're fighting with this guy, trying to get him cuffed. We're not hitting him. We're not striking him or anything, but we're gonna go to the ground sooner or later because he's a big dude and we're gonna go to the ground. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, if this guy ODs, if this guy dies in our custody, 4 white cops at 17th in Chicago, 20 blocks from George Floyd, we're going to prison. And I'm looking at these guys and I go, we're going to fucking prison. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. It was a horrible day.
My father was a police officer. I grew up in Minneapolis. My family was here. I didn't want to leave. It was the hardest thing I ever did in my life. I still have difficulties with it. You know, I didn't want to go. I love being a police officer, you know. But
one day sitting there having lunch, it was probably a group of 20 of us, and somebody had said, hey, LT, I heard you're leaving. What's your last day? And I said, well, today, in about 10 minutes. I said, in fact, could one of you guys give me a ride home because I had to leave my squad here? And the one guy that gave me a ride home, he's like, okay, let's, you know, I got my squad right here. So we were in a marked squad. I still had a uniform on. And I see a guy walking, and I see as he's going to raise his hand. And I was like, oh, hey, somebody wants to wave at us. And then he flipped us off. And I went, holy crap, this was the right decision. Yeah. Everything changed. And it didn't have to, had we had strong leadership right from the very top. The governor, the mayor, our chief of police, the city council of Minneapolis, the assistant chief, and the deputy chiefs. This is how you treat your people. You just turn your back on us.
Do you go into Minneapolis anymore?
I have not been anywhere near the precinct. I can't bring myself to go to the precinct.
I mean, unless I absolutely have to, no. I've even missed a few funerals.
Why did you decide to stay on?
Well, I think for myself, mainly for pride. I worked really hard to get here, really hard. And I made a lot of sacrifices in my personal life to be able to don a uniform and stand for something. And I could not let evil win. They failed when they gave up that precinct. Our department still hasn't recovered from that, and it's 3 years later.
Morale is something that can ebb and flow,
and it is something that I have to continue to monitor.
I do hear that the mayor talks that crime is down.
Crime is down. Crime is down. Say it with me. Crime is down.
I often wonder if we're looking at the same city. Overall, crime is way up.
Give me the keys, give me your money, everything. Keys, everything, everything. I'm crying.
How they ignore that or don't pay attention to that is beyond me. It's just another example of why we're in this situation we're in now.
Can you even keep up?
No. When I came on, we used to have a roll call of about 20 to 25 cops. I've had roll calls with 2 cops in them. So it's just not enough.
This council is going to dismantle this police department. All right, they're telling me to say it again. This council is going to dismantle this police department.
This government, not just in Minneapolis, but in the nation in general, has done a very good job, all the way to the White House, of demonizing law enforcement.
Do you believe there is systemic racism in law enforcement?
Absolutely. Now, with the element of, it seems, happy prosecutors to prosecute officers for mistakes made, makes it almost unbearable to do the job. And the policies passed makes it impossible to do the job that needs to be done.
Our commitment is to end our city's toxic relationship with the Minneapolis Police Department, to end policing as we know it.
This is the department that I believe will be on the right side of history. They are going to be on the right side of history, or they're going to be on the wrong side of history. Or they will be left behind. But I'm determined that we are going to be on the right side of history. Race is inextricably a part of the American policing system.
Don't run now! Don't run now, racist white people! I'm here! Oh yeah, we pull up! We pull the fuck up! And we here! Come on over here with your Blue Lives Matter sign! Blue Lives ain't shit! I won the primary election, and y'all can quote me on this. I am going to the state capitol with this same fucking message.
Do you think police and city leaders and the media were hiding the fact that your son is, in fact, a black officer?
I think they had such a hard time walking back a story that they had told that they would have done anything to maintain that story. You know, they have a story. Our family has a story. I have a story in my mind about what really went on as well. When I think about the conversation they must have had once the facts came out about the race of the officers. About the toxicology report, about the medical examiner's report, about the body cameras.
I can't joke. I can't breathe, love it.
And, you know, my story goes as they're sitting around looking at each other in a room going, okay, now what do we do? The truth and the facts don't match the story we've been telling everybody, and the media has been telling, what are we gonna do now? And they look around in the room and ask each other, you know, who has the cojones to tell the truth? Is it gonna be you, Arredondo? Is it gonna be you, Benjamin Crump? Is it gonna be you, Mayor Fry? Who's gonna be the one that's gonna say, oh, you know, oops, we thought it was this, we were wrong. The facts don't support it. We're gonna have to do something, we're gonna have to say something. And they must have looked around the room and said, nope, not me, I don't have cojones. You have nope, I don't have them either. But they were able to loan a pair, I think, to Mr. Chief Arredondo so that he could, don't worry, we'll borrow you a pair so you can have them to go on stand and lie about the training these police officers have had, since you don't have any to tell the truth. And that actually, you know, is the story that makes more sense with the facts than the one that they were telling.
Alex, it seems practically everyone talks about how Officer Derek Chauvin, who is white, was with George Floyd for 8 or 9 minutes. But there's you, a black police officer who was with George Floyd for much longer, practically 18 minutes from the moment he was handcuffed until you closed the ambulance door. Why is this fact rarely ever mentioned?
You know, that's a good question. Despite, like you said, the fact that I am black and that another colleague of mine, Cal, is Asian. So really half the attending officers were in the minority. I think that was something that they just didn't want to admit, specifically my race, because it goes very counterintuitive to the way the narrative goes. They couldn't backpedal.
This is where he grew up? Mm-hmm. Yep. Been here most of his life. It's our first house together. I've taught at 3 different North Side schools, so they all were students in the neighborhood, would live right around me. So yeah, the King name around here had a meaning in education, and in the city, positive name. And it's no longer the case. That's hard to come to terms with.
What's it like for you to think about him every day in prison?
My greatest fear is that it's going to change who he is. That I just don't know who he's going to be when he comes out. So it is hard to think of him there. Every day is excruciating. And we tell him, you know, we know who you are. We know what a lie this is. And you don't have anything to apologize for.
What I observed was not training that I ever participated in, none that I observed other officers participating in.
I can't understand how an untruth or a lie can be so accepted without question. This is what happened, this is how they reacted, and this is why they reacted, and this was part of their training.
None of that was said?
None of that was said. You know, when you're constantly reminded about the worst day of your life and the tragedies that, gosh, are in the news every day, the ramifications of that day in terms of how police are treated in the city and how many have quit, and it's gotten so bad. That trajectory, you know, of the fallout of what happened, not just that day, but to the city afterwards, that continues to happen and across the country. I just can't understand why they don't see that. I mean, how can that not be seen? It's not the police that are the problem. Something else needs to change. How can that not be obvious when things have gotten so bad? The city itself has lost its appeal. A lot of trauma, and the plan is to find somewhere else where we can start fresh and not have all the bad memories.
How do you get through every day in prison, Alex?
Prison is a very, very unique experience, I can say. One I never thought I'd see myself in, but it's very easy to get caught up in a lot of self-wallowing and a lot of whatever thoughts you have in your own head. And the easiest way to do it is to take it day by day. Do little things here and there that you can keep doing to take time off your sentence, keep pushing the days forward, and just keep your head up and know that ultimately this isn't the end and this won't define me.
Alex, what do you want people to know about this case?
What's been done is done, and I just hope that at the very least, people in the future can keep an open mind and not let instances like this happen. Just use my case as an example, is to not jump the gun, not knee-jerk, not fall to this race bait, to the social media, to the media, and let them get away with what they do. Because if things like this keep happening, no one anywhere is going to have any sense of justice left.